Hello, welcome to episode 4 of the Mini Talks podcast. I am your host, Call Me Minnie, and today we're going to be discussing Isadora Capri and what her role may be this upcoming season, as well as discussing yet another celebratory event that seems to be taking place in season 3. How is this all connected? Let's find out. Hello. Okay, so today we're going to be discussing Isadora Capri and what her role in season 3 may be. I have already said, in a previous episode, that I believe that Isadora Capri was either going to be the new principal for Nevermore, or she was going to retain her role as a music teacher for Nevermore. And I'm actually leaning more towards just her being a music teacher because, as I said before, while I think she has ties to the Hyde camp, I don't believe that she probably fully knows what's going on with said Hyde camp. I believe she just dropped Tyler off and she probably has no idea what the Hyde camp is actually probably planning. Okay, so here's a working theory that I got for what her role could possibly be this season and how this is all gonna tie into a new character we have, which is Tabitha, who is being played by Winona Ryder. Okay, so here is my working theory here. So, if you remember, back in season 2, remember when Tyler was talking to Wednesday, this is their first meeting, he's locked up in a cell, and he immediately tells her that this cell was originally where a schizophrenic werewolf had resided in 1992. We don't get a lot of years presented to us in Wednesday, so this makes me believe that when we do get years and dates and stuff, they must be very important. So then I was trying to also figure out what else happened around this same time. And I was looking, and it seems that this is also the same year that the Nightshades disbanded in 1992 as well. Then a year later, in 1993, Hydes were banned from Nevermore. So I was trying to figure out how in the world is all of this related? Because I'm assuming it is. It has to be. It all happened around the same time. So I was trying to figure out the connection. And a lot of people speculated that Isadora Capri might be the schizophrenic werewolf that went on that killing spree in 92. And I was like, well, you can't automatically just assume just because we see another werewolf around here that they're automatically the schizophrenic werewolf that Tyler happened to mention. They could go that route, but, it just seems a little maybe too presumptuous, and it could be a red herring. But I was thinking, what if let's say it does have merit? So how in the world could Isadora Capri be this schizophrenic werewolf, and what's the history behind that? So here's my working theory that I came up with. Okay, so we had all these different events happen around within a span of 2 years of each other. So here's the theory that I'm going with. Okay, so if this is true, and Isadora Capri was the schizophrenic werewolf, at some point, said werewolf escaped out of Willow Hill, okay? I'm assuming, I don't know where or how, but they were gone. And if it's Isadora Capri, how is that possible? So, okay. Isadora Capri escaped Willow Hill, and I believe she ended up at the Hyde camp. And how did she end up at the Hyde camp? Well, if you remember, Isadora Capri is also part Hyde. So she's a werewolf and she's part Hyde. So, but this still doesn't explain how she found the Hyde camp, right? How would she know where to go? And there's only two really ways that she could know, right? Either she has like some type of connections and she heard about it, or the more obvious and probably likely reason is that her family is a part of the people running that hide camp. And what do I mean by this? Okay, so now we're going back to Balthazar. I believe that Isadora Capri and Balthazar are related. And I believe that Balthazar is Isadora Capri's dad. And this is where things get really interesting, because let's look at how Tabitha now fits into this. Tabitha, if you looked at the card announcements and the cast announcements that had their the cards and titles and stuff in it in the video, Tabitha's name is underneath a B. So what does that mean? That would probably mean that she is a part of the Balthazar faction, and while she could just be playing a role in that faction, like maybe she's just friends, I would probably say that she is related to the people within that hide camp, and that would mean that she has family ties. But what are her family ties that she has? So I believe that Tabitha is the daughter, also the daughter of Balthazar. Okay. That would mean that Isadora Capri and Tabitha are siblings, which I believe is very possible. And stay with me on this one. Okay. If that's true, let's go back in time. What if Tabitha and Isadora Capri both attended Nevermore? And what if Tabitha was a part of the Nightshade Society, but Isadora Capri, I don't believe that she was, okay? So, if that's true, I believe that Tabitha joined the Nightshades because she wanted to figure out a way to break the curse that I believe exists between ravens and hides. And I believe that she thought she'd have a better chance of doing that if she had a whole bunch of people working with her and around her. And I believe that she was concocting something very dangerous in order to help her family who are hides. And I think Capri, at some point, found out what Tabitha was doing, and they had a whole confrontation about it. And I believe Tabitha made Isadora have a complete schizophrenic episode. Because if you look back to season 1, remember when Wednesday was confronting Tyler about his mother, and he was just saying that she was a schizophrenic and stuff? And maybe that's how they describe it, like, because hides are very unpredictable, and the way that their mood changes, it probably would appear to most people that they have schizophrenia. And since Isadora Capri is part hide, then I would believe that she would be susceptible to schizophrenic episodes as well. But only in this case, instead of turning into a hide, because she's primarily werewolf, she turned into a werewolf and unfortunately killed a lot of people, which led to her getting locked up in Willow Hill. So here's where this all ties in. So she ended up in Willow Hill, and then eventually she escaped. And where would she go back to? Her family and Balthazar, because they have a hide camp, and I believe she would just lay low there, and she would wouldn't have to be out in the world, and nobody would have to know that she was a part of the whole schizophrenic werewolf episode. So that would mean that Tabitha is still a Nightshade at this point, and I believe that she went on to continue to do whatever experiment or whatever she was trying to concoct before Isadora had stepped in. Okay, so this is leading me to the incident now where the Nightshades were disbanded. Okay, so when Wednesday went into the Nightshades, like, lair and was looking at the book, she came across a book, and it was like a journal entry from one of the Nightshades back in that day. And basically, what the book was saying was that there was an incident between the Nightshades and somebody named Coco, who was not showing up to the meetings. And the journal entry was saying that Tabitha, like, pretty much, I think, wanted to confront her, and then this person named Mason suggested that they confront her at the Bradbury Tower, where we know is where hides used to be sequestered and locked away, kind of like, so they could calm down, I guess, for whenever they would hide out or whatever. And then it also wrote that Mason seemed to kind of question whether or not they should actually be going up there. And this is where the journal entry kind of ended. So this is interesting because we don't know exactly what happened. But I believe that Tabitha confronted this Coco person. They had an argument at the Bradbury Tower, and maybe this is where Tabitha hid it out and ultimately killed Coco. And I believe that was the normie that got killed at the night, and that made the Nightshades disband and break up. And while I believe it's kind of implied that it was Garrett Gates, which was the normie kid, who's to say that is, who's to say that that's what exactly happened, and that's the reason that the Nightshades broke up? Because I believe normies can also attend Nevermore, because if you remember back in season 1, when Wednesday went, she didn't tell anybody that she had psychic vision, so they just let her in without, they pretty probably assumed that she was a normie and that she was just, a odd girl, and they accept all people that are, outcasts. And Wednesday, she fit the description of an outcast, even though she didn't, as far as they know, had any abilities. Weems only found that out later, that she was having psychic vision. So that means you don't need to have powers or anything to attend Nevermore. So who's to say that this Coco person wasn't the normie that got killed? Okay. And why? Okay. But this begs the question, though. Why was this Coco person avoiding the Nightshade meetings in the first place? So this is where I'm thinking that this is where I believe this is where it's kind of hinted at that Tabitha was researching something dangerous. And it's kind of like, if you look hard enough at the journal, you can kind of see some writing also at the very top. And it's kind of hard to read, but it is looked like it's pretty much saying that Tabitha wanted to do some type of alchemy to unleash what appears to be political, or it's either political or physical plagues. And it seemed like this was what she was trying to do. And why, I don't know. But if my theory is right, maybe she wanted to I think she wanted to shake things up in the political world of Wednesday, and really emphasize what hides are going through, and maybe have people turn against ravens in society or something like that. I believe it's something along them lines. So this would explain it, though, because that would mean Tabitha is trying to help her family, the Balthazar family, which are a bunch of hides. So that is to put it into a full conclusion here. This is what I think happened. Just to summarize it. So Isadora Capri and Tabitha were sisters. They were attending Nevermore. Tabitha was in the Nightshades and was researching some type of dangerous alchemy, okay? And then to maybe break the bond between Hydes and Ravens. And then Isadora Capri found this out, and then Tabitha made her, her mad, and Isadora had a whole schizophrenic werewolf Hyde episode, and which got her locked up in Willow Hill. And then she eventually escaped, went back to her Hyde family camp under her father, Balthazar. Tabitha stayed at Nevermore, continued researching very dangerous things, and then this Coco person found out and was probably going to tell, and then Tabitha hid it out and probably killed her, and it just so happened that Coco was also probably a normie, which led to the Nightshades being disbanded. And then a year after that, Hydes were being banned from Nevermore, I believe. So that's my working theory on that. I know that's a lot to take in, but I definitely believe that Isadora Capri is she's gonna tie into the story. Trust me, she's not just gonna be the teacher at Nevermore. No, she's coming back into the plot. And if you pay real close attention, I'll put the pictures up there. Something else that I noticed about the actress Billie Piper and Winona Ryder is that they actually look a lot alike, you guys. A lot alike. They could be sisters. So this theory, it has some merit to it, I believe. It's not out of the realm of possibility. And this the Wednesday production as a whole has a very good way at, matching characters to look alike. Just look at Tyler's family. They did a great job with that casting because Isaac looks like Tyler. Tyler's mom looks like, his mom. Everybody looks related, okay? And if my theory is true about Hester Frump and Balthazar getting flashbacks, then the two new castings that we got with those actors that look like them, I believe that, I believe that they are playing their younger selves. So I believe that that's also where we're going with that. And I believe that Billie Piper and Winona Ryder look like they could be sisters. Okay, so that's my little theory on that. Okay, now there's something else we need to discuss. Okay, so our insider, Zendaya, is driving on Twitter, who, as I explained before, has some sort of connections to the Wednesday show, and every once in a while they come on Twitter and give us little hints and stuff and about what they're seeing on set. Nothing, too spoilery or anything like that. Just little hints here and there about, what they're seeing on set and what they're shooting and, what they're seeing that they may be shooting and everything like that. So they said that it looks like they're filming some type of birthday or some sort of celebratory event, okay? And I'm like, okay, so if we're celebrating a birthday, okay, whose birthday? And then they also said that this is going to be a Nevermore function and that previous alumni can attend, and it's mostly centered around that. So this makes me think that it's someone, maybe even the owner of Nevermore. Maybe it's their birthday and they're inviting all former alumni to come and visit and hang out and make it kind of maybe a reunion of some sort. So that opens, if that's the case, and my previous theory that I just discussed about Tabitha being in Nevermore, then that means that wouldn't Tabitha maybe go to this birthday event that Nevermore is, having? I mean, it doesn't seem like it's out the realm of possibility, that's for sure. And if that's the case, then that would mean that Morticia would probably be familiar with a former, Nightshade, even if they weren't, at the same time. They Morticia strikes me as the type of person who probably knows all of who was in the Nightshades, even the ones before her. So that would open them up for probably discussion at some point. And if that's the case, then I believe that Tabitha will try to use this event to get closer to Morticia and therefore get closer to Wednesday, who I believe is Balthazar's end goal there. So that is definitely something to look out for. I mean, there's no telling what may happen at this event. Every season they do some sort of event, and things always end up happening. Bad things always end up happening at these events. Like, they can never have one normal event where, this is probably, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it even more, maybe Tabitha hides out at the event and that creates a whole lot of chaos, and maybe Wednesday gets kidnapped or something. Because if you think about it, in the first season, we had the Raven. And that got ruined because Tyler's ex-friends decided to prank the thing, the gathering, and ruined it for him. And then Wednesday bumped into Tyler and got the vision of Eugene getting attacked, and she had to go run and save him. But by the time she got there, Tyler had already attacked Eugene, and, a very, very sad scene. And I'm just glad Eugene was all right. But then in the second season, they had the charity gala thing that her grandmother was hosting, really Dort was behind all of it, Principal Dort. And then if you remember how all that went, Wednesday came up with a plan to take Dort down, and at the end of the thing, like, Dort got frozen by Ajax. He got stoned, and a chandelier fell on him and killed him. So yeah, these events have not had happy endings. So something probably equally, and then also Pugsley got kidnapped too. Let's not forget that. That also happened after the event. Like the principal getting killed was not enough. Then we had poor Pugsley getting kidnapped. So yeah, so that means that at this birthday party, something else equally as bad is going to happen. And this time it's probably going to be Wednesday. Maybe getting kidnapped by a bunch of hides or something. I don't know. It's not going to be good, though. I already have a feeling it is not going to be a good scene. So, yeah, that's something to look out for in the future. So we have a birthday event. So that's something to look forward to seeing in season 3 of Wednesday. Also, another thing that I kind of want to brush on a little bit is Zendaya's driving also said something interesting about how now I don't know if this is just from what she's been seeing or the vibe she's got off the set, or if this is just pure speculation on her part, but it is interesting to think about. There was a photo of the actor of Thing, and a full photo, not just his hand this time. And Zendaya's driving said something like, yeah, Thing is pulling like all the tricks because he knows he's not the only family member trying to get Wednesday and Tyler back together, allegedly. Zendaya said. So that's interesting. So that's a little thing for my Wednesday and Tyler fans in this episode. So it appears that and there's another tweet where someone said, oh, well, I hope the other family member is Pugsley trying to get Wednesday and Tyler back together. And then they said, Zendaya's driving said it's plural, so family members. So like I said, I don't know if this is what they've been picking up on set or if this is just their own personal theory, but it's definitely something to look out for, you guys. Can you imagine? So multiple Addams family members might be trying to get Wednesday and Tyler back together in season 3. That's very interesting. I mean, like I said before in a previous episode, the math is mathing that they're going to end up together. Like, so many things are pulling them together. And I remember another tweet from Zendaya Driving also said that they kind of have like a red string of fate thing going on, like like they're kind of like destined to be together. Like I said, like this is not official, okay? You guys don't run with it, okay? Don't you know? Take everything with a grain of salt, okay? Let's not like be too like, oh, this is this is how it is, because we don't know. Most of this is just kind of like our own probably personal wants, and it's just pure speculation. But it's definitely something to look at, because if this person, if Zendaya's driving really is getting the vibe like that from set, then more than likely Wednesday and Tyler are gonna. I just, to go back on what I've said in previous episodes, this is gonna be a heavy, probably Wednesday and Tyler season for multiple of reasons. Like, just because like we didn't get much of them in season 2, to be honest with you. Like, they only had really one conversation together, and that was when he was locked up and kind of going crazy because his master wasn't around. So you can't even really say that he was in his right mind then. And then everything after that, they really did not talk, like, period. And then you get that scene at the end where she saves him, and it kind of makes it all the more special because they didn't even have a conversation. Like, she just did that because she wanted to do that. And that's what makes it so interesting. Like, she didn't even know why she did it. They had not talked, you guys. Like, they didn't have no conversation like why you betrayed me, all this stuff. Like, the conversation never happened. Wednesday saved Tyler purely because she wanted to save Tyler. And it rings true because she did the same thing after he like tossed her out of a window. Like, he tossed her out of a window at the end of episode 4. And she still was trying to make a potion concoction to bind the two of them together. Like she had no reason to do that. Like, he was gonna eventually end up dying because, like, he had no master. Like someone said, the problem would have took care of itself. Like, she didn't have to do anything to get rid of Tyler. He was alright, but she didn't want him to die. Like, that's the whole reason she made the potion, because she didn't want him to die. And it doesn't seem like some people quite understand, like, the full weight of it. It's like, it's very clear and obvious that Wednesday, because Anita even asked her, like, when she said she had a plan, Anita's first thought was, oh, you have a plan to kill him? And she was like, no, she wanted to control him. But that really wasn't it. She really just wanted to be with Tyler. That's what it really was. Like, she'd never admit that, but that's what it was. Like, she didn't want Tyler to die, and she wanted a way that they could be together. And yeah, that's that. Like, she'd never admit it, but that really is what it boils down to. And the fact that she hasn't emotionally processed that yet, that's the entire reason why her visions are not going to be functioning correctly in season 3. As I said in the previous episode, she has to confront her feelings for Tyler in order to get her visions back working. Until she does that, she's going to be having a rough time this season. And it's like I said, a lot is going to happen between those two, I believe. Like I said, in the previous episode, I even talked about how I think Tyler is going to even end up saving Wednesday at some point. Like, I think, like I said, I speculated in the last episode, I think Wednesday is going to die. I believe she is going to die, and I believe Tyler is going to be the reason she comes back to life. And from there, they'll probably finally have that trust and be able to talk with each other. And hopefully Wednesday will be able to get her visions back to stop whatever horrible situation is going on in season 3. So, yeah, that's where we're at, and I'm just looking forward to it, you guys. It's gonna be quite a scene And it's going to probably be a lot of really big moments. And not just for Wednesday and Tyler, like as a couple, but individually. This is going to be a very big season for both of them individually. Wednesday's finally probably going to be able to learn how to, confront her emotions. And Tyler is finally going to be able to have his own freedom to choose what he wants to do with his life and who he's siding with. He finally has a choice. And he's probably going to have a lot of growth from that. So it's going to be a big season for both of them individually and together. So that's all I wanted to say. So, yeah. So thank you for watching this episode of Mini Talks Wednesday podcast edition, of course. And I will see you all in the next episode. And once again, if you're listening to this on Patreon, feel free to become a paid member. That would really help me out. When you become a paid member, you can give me any detailed theory you might want me to discuss or any in-depth question you really want me to delve into, and I'll make a whole segment on it and talk about it. Yeah. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, please, 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 as always, comment, and subscribe. All right, I will see you in the next episode, and all of you have a wonderful day.